If you are an agency owner or an online service provider and you don't know how to properly structure your fulfillment to get results, you're fucked. Okay, you're gonna be in this never-ending loop of acquiring clients and always training them. And at that point, you don't even have a business. You're just scamming people. And so in this video, I want to give you a high-level overview and outline of how to properly structure your fulfillment to not only get results, but to seamlessly systematize it in your business so you can outsource every aspect of it. Okay. And so first things first is it all comes down to your offer and what you're selling essentially. And I'm not going to really go too deep in this video, offer and what you're selling, but just know, do not be a general problem solver. Okay. Don't be somebody who solves a general problem like short form content or paid ads, because if you're solving a general problem, the problem isn't specific enough to the person, meaning that it's not painful enough, meaning that you're not going to make enough money to, outsource and scale eventually. Okay. And so, monthly retainers and like just commoditized offers, just leave all that. And instead, what you want to do is you want to solve a specific painful problem by placing either, let's say, talent, systems, insights, a system and infrastructure in people's businesses. Okay. And the reason why you want to do this is because first of all, you're solving a specific problem. And once you've solved that specific problem, a new problem gets created. Okay. So let's say, for example, you solve client acquisition problems for somebody. Okay. And once you've solved that problem, a new problem arrives, which is, whether systems, talent, outsourcing, scaling, which you can either choose to upsell or downsell by, solving that other specific problem that gets created from you solving the first problem. Okay. And so what you want to do is, I'm going to say this for the last time, become a specific problem solver by placing talent, systems, insights, by placing a system and infrastructure in people's businesses. Okay. And so I want to outline exactly the process, the framework that you should follow to implement this infrastructure in people's businesses. And so typically there's gonna be different phases of fulfillment, and the way I would go about it, the way you should go about it is 3 main phases of fulfillment: onboarding, build out, and optimization. So phase 1 is onboarding. So, obviously you start off the partnership when you get paid, and ideally you want to collect as much of the lifetime value from the customer upfront as you can. So that way you have more money to work with, you have more oxygen for your business to breathe. But, you might have to resort in payment plans or installments, whatever the case may be. Just make sure you get paid so you can kick it off, okay, the partnership. The next thing what you want to do is you want to have someone, ideally the closer, someone fill out a form, a Google form giving general information about the partnership. So let me actually open that up and show you. So what this is, it's a sales reporting form, and it's just basic information of when you close the client, their name, their info, how they paid, do they pay with installments, is it all up front, what's the payment plan, installment plans and the date. And then ideally, once you submit this form, so once you've onboarded, or, once someone paid you and you fill out all this information and you submit it, what you want to happen is, so once you submit it, you want it to trigger an onboarding sequence in Zapier or Make, whatever software you use, but you want to have an automation that basically does your entire onboarding for you. Okay, because if you don't have a scalable onboarding system, process, whatever, you're never going to be able to scale and onboard a bunch of clients without breaking. Okay, if every time you close someone, you have to go into fucking Google Drive, make all the client folders and do all that shit manually, you're fucked, bro. You're never going to be able to onboard 5, 6, 8, 10 clients in a week or a month, because it's so much work and your business is going to break. Okay, so you need to make sure that that's not a constraint of your business. And so what a typical onboarding sequence looks like is, for us, it's an automation in Zapier. And this just creates all the client materials, folders, sends the the agreement to them via email, and also just sets up the communication channels in Discord. And I'll actually just open that up. And so here it is. It's a Zap, and this is actually on our old offer where we did a content infrastructure. But as you can see, it creates all the Google Drive folders, the client documents, Slack channel. Just basically takes care of that type of stuff. I can guarantee there's a bunch of YouTube videos, some communities you can join to, help get this set up. It's pretty easy. It's definitely worth paying someone on like Fiverr or something to set this up for you. So if you don't have that, definitely make sure you have an automated, scalable onboarding sequence. The next thing is, so the end of the onboarding phase is you want to book a clarity call. Okay, this is a call where, people call it a growth call, a clarity call. Essentially, this is where you kick things off. Okay, and this brings us into the phase 2 which is the build out phase of this infrastructure, of the system that you're going to place in your client's business. Okay, And so what the clarity call essentially is, and obviously depending on what you're, putting in their business, what you're offering them, it's going to be different for every person. But generally it's a call where you set expectations and you present the roadmap. Okay. So what you want to do with your service is you want to have a roadmap built out. I'm going to show you how ours looks like, our old one, basically. But what a roadmap is you want to show each phase of the client journey that they're going to go through, while working with you. Okay. And let me show you what it looks like. So this is just a blueprint actually of our old one, but as you can see, so yeah, this is it. So we had different phases, and this is just like an old blueprint, but this is kind of generally what a client roadmap looks like. So you want to have like phase one. What does the onboarding look like for them? What does phase two look like? I don't know why it doesn't say phase two, but phase two, what are you doing in phase two? What are you going to teach them? What are you going to show them? And then phase three, what are we doing in phase three? So I'd recommend splitting it up by phases. But just basically just have a visual that shows them what each step of the client journey is going to look like for them, and present that to them. And so they have an idea and they know what they're going to go through while working with you. Okay. And so after a clarity call, you want to actually begin building the asset. Once again, it really depends on what you're building, when it comes to how long it's going to take, what you're going to need to achieve it, what's, all the steps you're going to go through. You want to make sure that whatever it is that you're building, whether it's a fucking recruitment team or like a content team, whatever it is, make sure that you document, you SOP every single step of the way. Okay. Because if you don't document it, then it's going to be so hard and painful to get people to outsource it, essentially. Because if you don't have everything documented, you need to just redo it all yourself. And so the steps that you can transfer to someone else. So what I'd recommend you do is, as soon as you do something and that it's important, document it. Okay. Document it. Just make it go. It's nothing crazy. Just go on Google Docs and just make a checklist of the step-by-step thing that, each step that needs to be done. And so you can hand that off to somebody as soon as you outsource it. Okay. So document everything. Okay. Do not fall behind on documenting things. It's very important. And so when it comes to you actually building the asset into their business, you want to keep the client deadlines. Okay. So make sure that, and actually a little trick that I got is under promise and over deliver. Okay. And this is how this works. And so what this actually means is that whenever you need to get something done and you need to set a deadline, you want to go ahead and over exaggerate that deadline to the client. You want to overextend it. Okay. And so that way you can get it done before the promised deadline that you gave to the client. And by you getting it done before the deadline, now the client perceives you as somebody who over delivers on their promise. Okay. And so, for example, let's say that I promised my client we're going to find them a short form content editor by Saturday, and we actually end up finding them one by Thursday. Okay. We over delivered on our promise and we found them one before. Okay, so that's a trick from Hermosi. Also, like I said, have everything documented. And let me actually show you how we did it for our old offer. We had, this is our old offer, so just an example, but we had for every phase of the fulfillment documents SOPs. So for example, if I go to Content Machine, we had an SOP of how we would implement the Content Machine into their business. So just a blueprint, but you just need to do what's right for your business, and don't overdo it, because it's just SOPs. It should be high level, not something where you're giving every single little detail in the document. Okay. And the last thing you need to keep in mind for this phase is the weekly check-in calls. You want to make sure that your service isn't something where you onboard a client and then have the onboarding or clarity call and then never talk with them again. You want to make sure you're constantly keeping them in the loop and letting them know what's happening. Okay, pretty simple. And so phase 3 is the optimization phase. And by now you've already built out the system and placed it into your client's business. Now you need to make sure that it works. You need to be tracking all the data and making all the optimizations needed to be made. Okay. And so you want to start off with a weekly focus and data collection. So every week you want to have sort of like an overarching focus that essentially you guys are focusing on. So whether that's getting leads or, setting up a specific system, make sure that every week you have a focus and that you're tracking everything. Okay. So when it comes to data collection, the more data you have, the more insights you're going to have and the more clarity you're going to have on the actions that need to be taken for you guys to improve the system. Okay. From there, you want to see if the KPIs are actually being met. And if it is being met, you want to double down on whatever you're doing to get better results. And if it's not being met, you need to make the optimizations needed to be made to meet those KPIs. Okay. And, again, with every client, it's probably gonna be a different situation every time. And so you want to document everything that you guys do and what worked and what didn't work. Okay. And so from there, in business, you want every client to be like a node in a network of people that keep paying you. Okay, the easiest way to make money online is by selling to somebody who's already bought from you. Okay, and so you want to be able to retain all of your clients, and the way you want to do that is by downselling them, ideally on a leveraged recurring service. Okay, and so phase 4 is retention. You want to provide ongoing support, but something that is leveraged for you. So whether that's consulting or managing the system that you've already placed in their business, or doing media buying. Media buying is so fucking easy nowadays because the AI, Meta's machine learning, essentially does everything for you. Okay, and so also, fractional sales, if that's the type of stuff you're providing, the service you're providing, and also like a community or access to a course or something, just have something leveraged that you can downsell them on to retain them, so you can keep collecting money from them. Okay, and so these are the 4 phases of fulfillment, and this is how I would recommend, use this as like a starting point, as a starting framework, and then, based on what you're selling, add all the specific steps and systems needed. But this is how I generally structure everything when it comes to fulfillment, and just take it and run with it. And if you got any value from this video, we have our free school community called the AI Scaling Specialist Community, where we teach you on all the latest AI trends and insights in the agency space, so you can separate yourself from the red ocean competition. And I'll see you in there. It's the first link in the description, and subscribe. Bye.